I ran through blistering winds and scorching deserts. I climbed to the tallest block of the tallest lava cast. And what did I find? Welcome everybody. This is Simply Vanilla, an anarchy server without hacks. And this is my base, but before I show you any more of this place, I'd like to talk a little bit about my journey to find this place. I started out in spawn and fell to my death a few times. I then found a small dirt shack where I got some food and iron supplies. Around this time, the 1.17 test world was a thing, so here are a couple screenshots from that. When that ended and I logged back on, I started a journey towards a starter base that my friend Atlaganti had made and already left. I stayed there long enough to get a diamond set with halfway decent enchantments and an ender chest, and moved towards new land. Not knowing about the nether roof being traversable on this server, I traveled thousands of blocks open nether. Eventually I dug a hole in a wall and made a portal, blocking off the wall behind it, then moved into the overworld. After a while I ran into a village and decided to set up a base there, which is where we are now. Now that that has been said, I'd like to show you all around a little bit. When I got here, I started with making a room for the villagers to live in. I ended up breeding villagers and starting a trading hall inside over time. I also made these farms you see, so I would have something to make enough emeralds to afford the books I wanted. I didn't stay here alone long though. While Atlaganti was on his way to the base, I ended up exploring nearby areas in the nether. He was doing a mix of nether and overworld travel since he didn't want to lose his things where he didn't have his E-chest yet. While I was exploring, I found a griefed base belonging to a player named Shrek, which I have ended up calling Shrek Town. I actually came up with the intro here since I wanted to try and make a Shrek reference. Atla was around 1,500 blocks away, so we decided to meet up there. We met up in a villager breeder that had been end crystalled. I showed him around the grief base a little bit, and then I showed him the way to our base. At our base, he helped me with the trading hall some, and then he made a normal type of villager breeder above the water that went underground, and a creeper farm that didn't end up working correctly. And not long after this, Skotosmi arrived at the base as well, and all of us started gearing up to get ready to find a place for a more permanent base. So over here you can see the creeper farm that didn't end up working. I don't know much else about it. This little house right here was where I was living when I first came to the base. I had a bed that I had to fight over a farmer with, and an E-chest as well. It was really crowded inside. This little pen over here with sheep, I put around 6 or 7 in, and I guess either Scott or Atla bred them, but there are way more than 7. Over here is my cow house. I made it to get leather, and then I remembered I could just get bookshelves from the villagers, so it hasn't been used at all pretty much. When we go towards a new base, I'd like to make a farm for the main types of animals like cows, sheep, chickens, pigs, and all that. I probably won't use them all, but I like having a bunch of farms. This building that has leaves for windows is my villager building breeding thing. I just put some beds in it and broke the ones in the village, and all the villagers just walked right into it. It's pretty simple. I used leaves because I knew it was going to be an ugly box, so it might make it look a little bit better. And now I have this really good set of armor and tools, or well, the armor is good, the tools and weapons still need a little bit of work, and everything still needs a good chunk of netherite. Over here are all the villagers. There's also a map and a pufferfish on the wall. I found the map in a sunken ship and it happened to have the village on it, so I just hung it up. But this little pufferfish has a story behind it. Little Poofy Face was bought by me from one of the traveling salesmen for like 5 emeralds. He was a cute little guy that I decided I'd keep as a pet. When me and Atla destroyed the carrot farm to get the villagers to quit having kids, I made a little pool over here for him. The only problem was when you got close to him, he'd smack you in the face. The pufferfish, not Atla. Atla's pretty nice. So when I was fencing it in, the iron golem ended up walking in, and when he got close to the water, poor Poofy Face tried to beat the hell out of him, and then the iron golem just squished him like a bug. So I picked him up and put him on the wall so I wouldn't ever forget about him. Atla needed to finish up a couple things at the base, so Scott made a way for us to get our horses to the nether roof, and me and him started a long journey. It didn't take us long before we started to see signs of other players. Placed blocks, broken and active portals, and even the items from somebody I assumed died up here. A dead body on the nether roof probably stinks a lot worse than normal. When you think about it, heat rises, and the top of the nether is flat, so it probably acts like a frying pan, so that body got cooked like a fried egg that someone forgot about. We rode for thousands of blocks, exploring portals for bases, and just trying to figure out how far we should go. The first portal we looked for a base in was in an acacia biome. There wasn't a whole lot we saw in terms of player signs though, at least except for what was near the portal. But I did find something pretty cool. There was not just one pink sheep, but 2, including the one I found at the old base. That makes 3 I've found since joining this server. We looked around the area for a while, but after finding nothing, we went back to continue the journey in the nether. There was another portal we checked that went to an ocean. We boated around for a while, but again, nothing of interest. Every time we saw a portal, we hoped we would find something. Every one of them, I would check the seed and check out nearby villages and other structures, but didn't find much. In one particular portal we checked, I saw a village with a nearby outpost, so I checked out both in case someone had tried to make a totem farm. I got bad omen, and when I went back to the village, Skotos messaged me thinking he started the raid himself. I thought he had went another direction, but was lucky he was there too, as this raid was no easy task. It started out pretty simple though, just a few mobs here and there. After the first wave, we couldn't find the last pillager, and I was ready to just leave at that point. But eventually we did find it. Not long into the raid, Scott made a good decision and switched to his diamond armor, as I'm pretty sure he would have died otherwise. In this clip here, I was prepared to die. When you see me run off the screen, I was at half a heart, and I still can't believe I didn't die. But this was nowhere near the end of the raid. Scott fell in a small ditch on the edge of a cave, and when he placed a block to jump out, little did he know it would be a big mistake. The sand fell right where he had jumped, and from my perspective, I thought he was dead. Luckily he survived, and in the next wave, we each got a totem. But the wave after was the worst of them all. Multiple Ravagers, each with riders on them, those annoying assholes that drop totems and spawn the little evil fairies, and so many of the guys with axes. Even though the water stopped them all at first for a bit, it didn't stop them long. Right at the start, I was already having to get on top of a house to try to avoid some of them. I had forgot about the long-ranged claw attack thing though, so I had to get down and kill the mob on the Ravager. As I would start getting hits in, I would keep having to run to keep myself from dying. Luckily, my arrow hit its mark and the Ravager no longer had that evil rider on top of it. I retreated onto another roof to heal and stayed there for a little bit, but then I remembered about the totem on the ground, so I ran for it. As I picked it up, I got stuck in the corner, and the Ravager popped the first totem I had got. But as he got close, I finally took him out. And when I got back down to the village, another Ravager with the Axeman on top started coming towards me. But luckily, he wasn't anywhere near as bad as the other, as I think Scott had already been fighting with him and took his health down some. I took out the Ravager and chased the axe guy into the village. Me and Scott picked off the last couple enemies and finally finished the raid. We were excited as hell to already have a couple of totems this early into the journey. We explored one more portal as we continued in the Nether, and at this one Scott found a village with a couple villagers and boats, so we knew someone had to have been here before. We had no luck finding signs of the possible base, but I did tame a dog to bring for the rest of the journey. We haven't quite made it to the place we plan on basing at, but we will soon, I'm sure. Atla will be meeting up with us, and the three of us will be finding a spot to settle soon. So on that note, I'll see you all next time.